Hopefully the video is okay. I'm filming it a different way from the back side of my camera instead of my front side of my camera. And I know that all video people say that you should film from the back side, but it's annoying because then I can't see myself and whether I'm in frame or not. So you have to go do a bunch of back and forth to see if... Anyways, hopefully it's in frame. And if my head's chopped off, well, I guess that's how we're doing the video because I'm not going to change it again. Anyways, hello, my name is Mary, and this is Athena's Bibliotheca. I don't know, apparently I had some sugar today. Anyways, so today I'm going to do a book haul. I don't do hauls very often because books for me usually just trickle in over time. So this is a book haul for the first half of the year. And you're like, oh, Mary, so they just trickle in over time. That means you haven't bought a lot of books, right? And that would be wrong. Now, the fun thing would be to say whether I've read all these books or not. Yeah, that would be fun. Most of these books I have yet to read, and very rarely is a book bought before I've read it. That's not a thing that I normally do. I'm usually like, oh, I want to read that book, and then I buy it. Not, oh, I really like that book when I read it from the library, and then I bought it. That would be a smart thing. But no, I buy the books pre-knowing whether I like them or not. And then we play the game of, when is Mary going to pick up this book? Is it going to be in the next week? Or is it going to be in the next year? Or is it going to sit on the shelf forever collecting dust? The last one is the most likely. Anyways, this is a rambly intro to a book haul. This is going to be all the books that I've bought from January, that I've gotten from January all the way to June. So the first 6 months of the year, these are all the books that I have gotten over that time period. Well, I guess it's not all the books that I received. Some of these books are pre-orders because I just want to really talk about them. So they're also in here. And I've split the haul into categories. So the first category is physical books. Books that I can hold up and show you and not have to put a picture. The second category is going to be ebooks. And then the third category is going to be audiobooks. And I don't really read them very often, but I do want to try to get into them. And I've discovered recently this website called Chirp, and probably all you audiobook lovers know all about Chirp, but I feel less guilty spending like $4 on an audiobook over 24 or paying an Audible credit for a thing that I'm never going to use. So purchasing them for like $4 when they go on sale on Chirp makes me feel less guilty about purchasing them. Have I read a single one of them or listened to a single one of them? Nope. And the last category is the pre-orders. This is pre-orders specifically that I have not gotten yet. I wanted to talk about them. One specifically I wanted to talk about a lot. And we'll get to that one when we get to it, because it's the last one we're going to talk about. I think that's everything that I had to talk to you about before we get into this. You probably didn't need as much information as I told you, but you got it anyway. And so I'm going to start with the physical books that I've got in the first 6 months of 2024. The first book that I received in 2024 is Hench by Natalie Zina-Walschatz. Hopefully I didn't butcher their name. This book I actually got for Sarah Without an H's Patreon buddy read. Me and Sarah's picks, at least the ones that I have actually read, because I haven't read many of them. I think I've read 3 of them. 4. I have tried to read 4 of them. I DNF'd 2, and I finished 2. So I don't know what that says, but I thought this was okay. And I think the hype of this book specifically was to its own detriment, because I liked it enough. When I liked it quite a lot when I first finished reading it. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't like amazing as what I've heard about it. But the longer I sit with it, the less I like it. So this is actually going to be unhauled, hopefully. I'll probably put it on my Pango Books, which is where I got it in the first place. But you know, hopefully going to someone who likes it. But it wasn't bad, and I might still read the sequel that's coming out this year. If it's already come out, well, but I make no promises on that because obviously I didn't care enough about this. But I do really like the main character in the story. I just didn't like the way it ended, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, this was the first book I received. Perfect. Great start of the year. The next book was a pre-order that I had, and it was Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett, and I actually have read this one, and I loved it so very much. I'm actually in the camp of I think I like this book more than I like the first one, and I liked the first one a lot. It was in my top 10 books of the year, but I really did enjoy this book quite a lot. The next book that I got was House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is definitely a book that you could hurt someone pretty bad with, both just physically and mentally through reading it, either negatively or positively. We'll find out later. But I actually really enjoyed this story. This is the same way as with Hench. So, like, once again, the longer I sit on it, the less I like it, and the more I think, if I think too hard about it, the more irritated I get with what happened in this book. So, you know, getting somewhere, I guess. I don't know where, but it's somewhere. The next book on this list is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gilleg, because I read One Dark Window in January and I really enjoyed it a lot, so I wanted to get the sequel so I could read it. Have I done that yet? No, but I will eventually. Stop nagging. Then my pre-order of Frieren Volume 10 came in, and it was great, amazing. I love this series so very much. And this one, a top tier volume in the series for sure. And the ending of it, very rude. Just saying. The ending in this volume specifically. I don't know, the last few volumes I think have ended in a very rude manner. But this one was really good, and I really enjoyed myself. And every time I read them, I'm like, Mary, you should hold off so you can like have a couple volumes to binge. With this series, I can't do that. The next two are fun ones because they were both a gift from Jana. She found out that we both share a birthday, and so she sent me Jade City by Fonda Lee and The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I was like, that's so sweet. You're precious and I love you. You're great. Anyways, so she sent these to me for my birthday because she's the sweetest like that. She also has a booktube channel, so I'll leave a link to her channel down below. Definitely check her out. And she's so nice. Anyways, thank you. I haven't read them yet. The next book I got because the hype. Everyone was raving about Butcher and Blackbird by Bren Weaver, so I got myself a copy. And this one I have read and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. The hype for this book is greatly deserved in my opinion. It's just such a fun time, and it's just laugh out loud funny, and it's just great, and I love it. And I need to get to the sequel. I will get there eventually. I've already mentioned how I read One Dark Window by Rachel Gilleg and really enjoyed myself, and so I finally purchased myself a copy. Look at me go, reading a book before I purchase it. So obviously I already mentioned how much I really like it and I really want to get to the sequel. When will that happen? Who's to say? Then after that one, this was definitely a judge a book by its cover moment when I got Five Broken Blades by May Corland. And it wasn't necessarily a cover purchase. While this cover is amazing, it was actually the sprayed edges that did it. And once again, I have not read it. Maybe I'll read my books eventually. I am a purchaser and collector of books before I am a reader, apparently. Okay? The next book I purchased was another comic, library edition comic for Avatar: The Last Airbender. And this one's The Lost Adventures in Team Avatar Tales. And you think since it's a comic in Avatar: The Last Airbender, I would have read it. You'd really think that, but you'd be wrong. I have yet to read this. The next book I purchased is definitely a book that the hype got to me. And so I purchased Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Once again, haven't read it, but one day I'll read it and I'll have such a fun time, according to everyone else. After that, I finally purchased Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. And this book I've been wanting to get my hands on forever. Every time I go to Barnes & Noble or a bookstore and I see it, I'm like, Mary, you should get that. And then I never do. Until now. Finally got it. Have yet to read it. I will. Someday. Hopefully. As far as I am aware, I don't really look up much about a book once I know that I already want to read it. So I think that it is a YA horror following a trans boy trying to escape a cult. And he has some kind of monster power of some sort. Don't really know, but I'm excited for whenever I get to it, even if horror is not necessarily a genre that I gravitate towards. I still really want to read this book. Hopefully I enjoy it when I do. The next book that I have is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. This was a quick purchase on my part. I just was like, oh, it's the indie edition of the book. I found it in a thrift shop and I was like, I have to get it. So I did, and hopefully I enjoy it when I finally get to reading it. We'll see. I've heard a lot of good things, so I have high hopes. The next book that I purchased was A Magical Girl Retires by Park Seo-leon. So this was definitely, I have no idea what it's about, but this cover, and it says Magical Girls, and so I had to get it. Plus, look how short that thing is. It'd probably take me like an hour or so to read that, maybe, depending on how bad my slump is at the time when I finally get to this. But I'm really excited. I haven't heard really anything about it. I haven't heard anyone read about it. It was definitely just a cover title purchase. I saw this cover and I was like, mine. And I took it home with me. And then, as previously mentioned, I read and really enjoyed myself with Butcher and Blackbird. So when Leather and Lark by Brandon Weaver came out, I had to get myself a copy. Have I read it yet? No. Is it because I've seen so many of the people that I previously saw rave about Butcher and Blackbird be kind of disappointed with this one? Maybe. I really hope that I am not disappointed by this book because I'm so excited for it. I just need to taper my expectations a little more, I think. That's what I've gathered from the reactions of other people that I've seen read this. And the last physical book that I am going to talk about, physical books that is, are my Bookish Box Percy Jackson editions. I talked a little bit about them in the bookshelf tour, but I got these, I think they finally came in the mail in like January. And if it was in 2023, it's fine. I want to talk about them now. I'm pretty sure it was in January where I got these. And they're just so pretty. Look at them. Even just looking at the spines, they're gorgeous. But then there's like the sprayed edges. Look at that. That's so pretty. They're so pretty. I'm not going to show off all of them, but I'm going to show off specifically lightning thief. You've probably seen pictures on Instagram, but I just think they're so pretty. So I'm showing them off a little bit. Okay. So they all have like the cover, and they have like different hidden, like, if you wouldn't know the meanings behind the covers, once you read it, you're like, oh, that's from that, that's from that. It's so fun. I love covers that do that. And then on the back, each Percy Jackson book has a prophecy that is prevalent in the story. If you don't know that, now you know. And they have those prophecies on the back, and I just think that's great. And they have like metal corner things. They're so cool. And then they have the pretty end papers. That's so pretty. Like, I want to go to camp at Camp Half-Blood. Did I want to do that before I saw this picture? Yes. But it's still gorgeous. And then the first book, only the first book, but the first book has a tip-in page of Rick Riordan's signature, which is fantastic. It's so pretty. And then that's where the description of the book is. Anyways, I think it's great and I love it. I love them all. Great purchase on my part. I just wanted to show them off, so I did. It's in haul, and I hauled them so I could show them off. Okay, and now it's time for the ebooks. Each section after physical is probably going to be less and less because physical is the main way I purchase my books. So for ebooks, the book that I'm going to talk about first is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Pretty popular book, author. I have not read it. But I want to get into the Cosmere eventually. I do want to. Will it happen anytime soon? We'll find out. Everyone always hypes it up so much, and I want to see what the hype is about. I want to know. I want to be in the know. So I purchased this ebook, and maybe one day I will read it. The next book that I purchased was Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Shibeko. If you... I don't want to talk about this book because it's kind of a disappointment for me. I was so hyped for this book. I was so prepared to love it, adore it. Like 50% of the book, I was like, this is going to be 5 stars. I love it so very much. And then a certain scene happened, and it ruined it for me. I tried really hard to look past this scene, but I couldn't overlook what went down. Like, I don't know fully how to talk about why it was disappointing. Like, my articulation about it is not very good, but I will leave a link to a video I found of someone who had similar gripes about this scene. So if you want to hear more about why I was disappointed in this book, you can, I'll leave a link below for it, this video. Anyways, but yeah, I'm sorry for everyone that was excited for me to read this. I was excited for me to read this, but I ended up DNFing it because I couldn't look past that scene. So, we'll continue. The next book was called Alpha's Fated Encounter. This one didn't disappoint me because I had no expectations for it. I did not think I was going to like it just by looking at the cover. I know you're not supposed to judge books by the cover, but when you look at this cover, you get exactly what you think you're going to get. And it's not good. I tried to keep my tried to look at the good side, and when I talked about it, and I talked about it in a blog. It's like when I read 20 romances for 24 hours. I was being kind. I don't like this book. It was really bad. And I feel like this year I'm in my hater era because I am hating so many books. Maybe that's why I'm in such a big slump. It's because I am liking books. There's plenty of books that I like, but also there's a higher amount of books than normal that I do not like this year. And I usually am someone who likes everything I read. But yeah, this one, I was not expecting much, and I didn't get much. So it really wasn't disappointing because it gave me what I thought it was going to give me. Oh, the next one is the next ebook that I have is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. And apparently, I want to get into two major fantasy authors' works because I own it now. I actually got 20% into it, and then I got a reading slump. It's not the book because I was enjoying the book. I just didn't want to read anymore, so I didn't. I will eventually get back to it though because I was really enjoying what I was reading so far. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get to it. You know the spiel. I say it every time I talk about a book that I haven't read yet. And then finally, in the ebook category, I got Unhinged by Annalie James, which is a romance, gay romance with about the father is adopts these sociopaths and trains them to kill killers or like not great people. You know the deal. It's following each of the sons in their romance from what I gathered. Anyways, I think it was either really cheap or free, so I purchased it and now I own it. So eventually, maybe one day, I'll read it. And as said, that was the last of my ebooks. Next is audiobooks. And I haven't bought many of them because I don't listen to audiobooks very often, but I'm trying to get myself to read them or to get into them because they just help you read faster, I guess. I don't know. I just want to try it. I want to be with the people. I want to be with the audiobook girlies. And I'm not. I'm really not. I get too easily distracted. Anyways, but I've purchased audiobooks anyway, to my wallet's detriment. Anyways, I've never paid that much for any of these audiobooks. So, like, I'm not spending $25 on an audiobook that I may or may not read. So, let's get to the list of audiobooks. The first book I'm going to talk about is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. A lot of the audiobooks I get in the tension, like I own the books. Because that's the only way I've found that I will be able to listen to audiobooks is that I have to have the physical one in front of me to read it, or my mind wanders and I get distracted and I'm like, what in the world did they just say for the last 15 minutes? Because I don't know. Anyway, so Red Rising, I own it in physical form, but I got the graphic audio, so eventually I'll find out if I like that. So that's the first audiobook. The next audiobook I got was actually a whole trilogy, and that was The Poppy War, Dragon Republic, and The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. It was a whole trilogy set for cheap, so I had to get it, especially since I own the first one, and eventually I'll read it. Okay, and then the next one is Jade Fair Gold. Yes, I own it, and I have not read it. The audiobook after that is My Best Friend's Exorcism, another book another book I own and have not read. And then it is Malice by John Glenn, I think. Another fantasy book that I hear a lot of good things about, and I want to give it a try. And I was like, maybe an audiobook will make me actually read it. Not yet, it hasn't, but maybe someday. And then the last one is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin something. Sorry, I don't remember the author's name. But Braiding Sweetgrass is a nonfiction that I've been wanting to read. So I purchased the audiobook. Get to it eventually, maybe. And finally, the fun part. I mean, all of this is fun, but I really am excited about talking about the pre-orders, but specifically one of them, and I'm leaving that to the end. So, for the pre-orders, I have pre-ordered Heavenly Tyrant by Jiren J. Zhao. Hopefully I said their name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I always am. I'm like, hopefully I said your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Anyways, I pre-ordered this pretty much as soon as I finished Iron Widow. I was like, man, I need that in my life. So I pre-ordered it. Hopefully it'll come out in December when it says on everything. Who knows when it will actually come out? But I have it pre-ordered, so it will eventually come to me whenever it does come out. The next book I have is Heavenly Tyrant. Says that it's supposed to come out December 24th. I don't know if Goodreads is lying or whatever I use to find this date is lying, but at the moment, that's what I've seen on book selling websites. The next book that I pre-ordered is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I am one of the few that actually liked Iron Flame. Let me backtrack a little bit. I understand why people dislike Iron Flame. Like, I get you guys' criticisms, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. I just had a fun time, so I didn't care. That's basically how I felt with Fourth Wing. Everyone was like, when people started to find criticisms in it, I was like, yeah, you're right. But I had such a fun time that I don't care. So that's how, I guess, that's how this series is going to be for me, is like, I just have such a good time and fun. I had so much fun while I'm reading it that all of the criticisms that you could have for the book end up overlooked by the amount of enjoyment I'm having in the series. And that's what it's going to be for me. So I pre-ordered Onyx Storm. Plus, look at this cover. I think this is the one of my favorite covers that they have done. And they have like fancy edges this time instead of just plain black, which is great. And hopefully I get that one. Onyx Storm is supposed to come out in January of 2025. So thank you for giving Rebecca Yarros some extra time to edit and write the story. That's appreciated. And then the next book I have is The Games Gods Play by an author. I will leave her name. Here's her name. Here's their name. But it's also in the graphic, in the cover. So, anyways, this is a book that, okay, first of all, the sprayed edges are gorgeous. The cover is gorgeous. So that alone makes me want to buy it. But it was also compared to Percy Jackson, which makes me add to cart. It makes me swipe my card. That is another pre-order that I have. This one comes out this year. September 3rd is what I have written on my piece of paper, and hopefully I'm correct. So September is when we'll get it. And finally, my favorite pre-order, the book that I am most anticipating now since the day that I saw that it was coming out. I'm so excited for this, guy. I'm so excited. It just makes me so happy that they did this. And then I've heard good things about the author before and that they're a good writer. And I hope that's true. And I hope I like their writing because the book I'm talking about is Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. Just take a moment. Isn't it gorgeous? It's so pretty. Like the cover, immaculate. Thank you, whoever designed the cover. I looked them up and I forgot their name. I'm sorry, but your artistry, amazing. You're great. You're doing great things. Okay, if you don't understand how exciting why this is so exciting, I am a big Tinkerbell fan. If you didn't know this, it's true, I am. I have all the DVDs. I have Sidekicks, which is a board game you can play as Tinkerbell. I actually just own a Disney Fairies board game. I have a bunch of pins, majority of which are Tinkerbell. My bookmark mug is Tinkerbell, and I have a Tinkerbell bookmark. I made myself a set of fairy wings, and the design is based off of Tinkerbell's fairy wings. I even have a picture of myself meeting Tinkerbell. Enough said. Anyways, the reason that I brought up loving Tinkerbell so much is that this book is about Queen Clarion, who is like the overseer of all the fairies in Pixie Hollow, and her relationship with Lord Mallory. If you've never seen the Tinkerbell movies, this means nothing to you. Or you've never read the chapter books that came out, this means nothing to you. But to me, it means everything. In Secret of the Wings, they introduced a romance subplot about Queen Clarion and Lord Mallory trying to be in a relationship. And I'm so excited to read about it. And guys, so excited. This just makes my day. It made my day. It made my year. Best news ever. I love it. So I don't see anything topping how excited I am for this book. So excited. I think I should stop gushing about this book. Just, if it's not obvious, I'm super excited, and I hope I have so high expectations for it, and I'm just hoping beyond hope that I'm not disappointed, because I'm so excited for it. Anyways, so that is all the books that I have now from the first 6 months of the year. If some fell through the cracks for one reason or another, I guess that could happen. But I hope that this video covered all of the books that I have gotten in the first 6 months of 2024. I hope you had fun snooping through all of my purchases, my book purchases the past 6 months, and I hope you found something entertaining about it. I hope to see you next week, but I make no promises. Bye!